board of directors of the Prostate Cancer Foundation. He supported nanotechnology for cancer research. Gave $20 million to Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. $100 million to MIT. Just throwing it all around there. $15 million to this hospital. $185 million over here. $30 million to the Cancer Center in New York. $25 million to the University of Texas A&M. $5 million to the House Ear Institute for a hearing restoration. $25 million for the Hospital for Special Surgery in New York City. $100 million to the New York Presbyterian Hospital in New York, the largest philanthropic donation in its history. Right? He began a $2 billion campaign to conclude in 2019. This is a multi-year campaign for a new ambulatory care center and a renovation of the hospital. $150 million to the Sloan Kettering Center, again, in New York City. He gave hundreds of millions of dollars to the arts. The New York State Theater gave him the $100 million.
Right there. It doesn't matter, because what's offensive is that David Koch had money.
No, that's not what's offensive, because George Soros has money. He gave $10 million to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. He was supporting the American Ballet Theater for $25 million. Gave him over $6 million. He was a member of the board of trustees of WGBH TV, which is basically 2/3 of the PBS programs. I'm not even going to go into all the education because he did more there. Prison reform, ACLU. This is who this guy was. But he was a climate change skeptic. Ooh, did you know? David Koch even thought that taxes should be slightly lower. And for this, he's the most evil man in the world. And this is the point, is because he deviated on the economics, he was evil. Whereas, if you're a left-winger on economics, and maybe you're not as woke as you could be, you'll get criticized from certain areas. On the fringes, who'll say, oh, he wasn't really as woke as he should have been. He should have been more focused on identity politics, whatever. But, God, what a hero he was. This is all they care about. The central defining factor of the left, the element that defines them, is they are against what they call capitalism. That's it. You can do anything else under the sun. They say they care about all that other bullshit, and we know they don't, because they love Stalin, even though he killed people for being gay. David Koch loved gay people. He loved them. They don't care. Why? Because he thought corporate taxes should be like 25%. And that is unpardonable sin. It really just goes to, whenever you are tempted to think that the left wing has any moral legitimacy or high ground, remember that they'll throw all that other shit aside. You can support gay marriage and, abortion rights and the women's right to choose and all that shit as much as you want. You can give billions of dollars to cancer, to people with cancer, and to the performing arts and public broadcasting and all that bullshit that they put on as window dressing to dress up the fact that the only fucking thing they care about at the end of the day is they want socialism, which really just means they want power. Everything else is fucking negotiable. It's negotiable. Bernie Sanders doesn't care about Black Lives Matter. Well, we'll educate him on that. Now he does. George Soros, he's not quite woke enough on this or that. Well, whatever. Capitalism. And if you are for capitalism, it doesn't matter how much you give them on the left, where you say, oh, well, I'm actually very pro-choice and I support immigration. They don't give a fuck. Oh, you want to cut taxes by 1%? You are the enemy. They want you dead. They want your children raped and buried in the ground.
And they think it's funny.
I
know the quote you're trying to get. Yeah. I
forgot it because I'm spitting mad over here. I was this close to going into an Alex Jones, but I didn't. People think Alex Jones is a Fed because he does that, where he gets all riled up, and then it looks like it's almost like he's purposely trying to discredit himself.
And then don't forget how you end every single rant. You go, excuse me.
I need papers to shuffle. So I have the documents. He never shows them, but the point is, I actually can see how Alex Jones does that because you get swept up in it. I'm sorry, people. These people are just demons. I'm sorry. They get me
straight from hell.
Yeah, these people are demons from hell. I don't mean to swear. Just God fucking damn it! I'm sorry. I'm upset.
There's a family. I apologize to the family audience.
Yeah, we got a family audience. I'm sorry about that. I don't want to be swearing on the show. It's just that these fucking cocksuckers, they get me every time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about
that. Okay.
I'm not upset. I'm just a little upset. God damn it! These fucking people. I'm sorry.
All right, then. Moving. So, let's see. Is there anything else you got to say about David Koch? Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Yeah. He's dead. All the worst people in the world are happy about it. All the best people in the world are upset about it.
And some of the worst people in the world are upset about it. Like Reason Magazine.
Oh, well, I mean, what would all that money be for if Reason Magazine didn't? I mean, really, the question is, should Nick Gillespie get buried in Koch's pyramid?
Maybe just his leather jacket.
Okay, so that's that. In other libertarian news, I can't believe I almost forgot this. John McAfee is at it again, folks. As it turns out, when he was arrested by Dominican police, a month ago, we mentioned this. He ended up. This is actually almost not much to say. You just got to read the article for yourself. McAfee had to fake a heart attack to avoid, and he was right, obviously, that they were trying to trump up a reason to extradite him because when he entered Dominican waters, he radioed in that he was docking, and then he docked, and the very second that his boat was docked, police stormed his boat and arrested him for not declaring the contents of the boat after he got off the boat. So he never got off the boat because the police arrested him.
Yeah.
As in, like when you get, like he had, obviously he had weapons on the boat. When you land at any port and you're supposed to get off the boat, go straight to customs and say, hey, I got guns on the boat. Except this time, the Dominican police didn't give him an opportunity. They just arrested him and said, you didn't tell the customs official, what you had on the boat. It's like, I haven't seen the customs official. I don't even know where the customs office is because I haven't actually physically, I haven't disembarked at all. And so, yeah, he ended up faking a heart attack with the cooperation of his lawyers, who he says, like, secretly told him when to stop faking the heart attack. Like, they whispered in his ear, like, you're okay to be healthy now, Mr. Matt.
Is
and
his
then he
lawyer,
miraculously recovered.
Who's his lawyer?
Oh, I almost don't want to see what John McAfee's lawyer looks like.
Is it Saul Goodman?
Right?
Like,
you don't need a
what
criminal
kind of lawyer is giving you advice on faking heart attacks?
Yeah, it's like, you don't need a criminal attorney. What you need is a criminal attorney.
Yeah, is his lawyer like Barry Zuckerkorn or something? It's just crazy. He's gonna show up like Jean Parmesan in costume pretty soon. Trump versus Warren debate. Who's gonna have a big mustache on? He's gonna raise his hand and ask some batshit crazy question, and he's gonna go, "Actually, it was me, John McAfee." Elizabeth Warren's gonna go, "Oh, John, you got me again."
Yeah, there's almost not much to say about it. Just to point out that, John. Yeah, so it was an exclusive with Coin Rivet, and then Yahoo Finance covered it. So I'll link to it directly there.
He only speaks to Bitcoin media. Bit media.
All right, next.
Speaking of media.
Speaking of the media, we're at that section now. Tucker Carlson.
Speaking of hoaxes and fake things.
Oh, yeah. Tucker Carlson finally got woke on the class issue because on his network, he said that basically white supremacy, the idea of a white supremacy epidemic in this country is a hoax concocted by the richest people in this country to keep us divided based on race, because the more divided we are based on race, the less we'll realize that the real divide is based on class, because then we might get, in his words, something along the lines of, unallowed or dangerous ideas on economics.
Yeah.
This is a reversal of the David Koch thing, because in this case, Tucker Carlson's entire monologue really could be straight from a speech in the Socialist International. I mean, he really was saying,
a Comintern or something.
Yeah, like, workers of all colors are equally oppressed by rich people, and the answer is to have an alternative economic system that unites us across racial lines to show the rich what's what. Right. In this case, that was still because he questioned the white supremacy narrative, therefore he was canceled. Not literally. This is like his 5th time being sort of socially canceled, but he went on a 2-week vacation.
Yeah, I don't know if that was on. I think that was previously scheduled.
Yeah, but it is just interesting.
Because you remember his last vacation, is when they tried to cancel him, and then he canceled his vacation to defend himself every night, which makes me wonder, do they purposely, it's got to be purposely, that they say, okay, he's going on vacation on this day, so we will start our attack that day so he will not be able to defend himself. Do you think that has to do with it?
Probably.
Because I saw an article that said, because they're going after his sponsors, obviously, and if you look that up, there's lots of articles in the corporate press that says basically, Tucker is hemorrhaging sponsors. But what I found interesting was at the same time, the price for an ad spot on his show has gone up. Mm-hmm. Because the companies that have not left, it seems they're being rewarded by his audience to the point where, despite the fact that he's become a leper for a lot of mainstream companies, his spots are more valuable because his audience is growing, which is just an interesting development in the whole thing. But it goes to show, it proves his point about white supremacy being a hoax, because if this was a white supremacist country, the major business institutions would be proud to align themselves with someone who has been smeared as a white supremacist. The idea that the way we will get Tucker Carlson banished from all of society and taken off television and unable to do business with anyone is to call him a white supremacist would not work in a white supremacist society. And I can prove that, because if you look back in history, when America was a white supremacist society, you can look at the Lincoln-Douglas debates, and both sides are accusing the other side of not being a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Well, he said, Stephen Douglas says, this Lincoln guy, he wants black guys to sit on juries. And Lincoln goes, no, I am a proud white supremacist. And then they go, no, I'm a proud white supremacist. And that's how they won votes. And then you
just promising, like just getting up on stage saying, like, I promise I am racist.
And everyone claps and cheers. Now you do the opposite. Why? Is it that we're a white supremacist society? More so than we were in the 1800s? Or is it that we're not? It could be that we are a white supremacist society as much or more so than when those people did that. And when racism happened, or as I like to put it, some people did something. It's possible we're still just as much a white supremacist society, and the only difference is that it's a taboo to mention it. So everyone's in denial and pretends we're not. And that's why if you admit to being a white supremacist, you're banished, because we actually are, but we can't. You broke
the masquerade.
But we're getting so complicated now with our charges of how America is white supremacist. Well, we're like double secret white supremacists. Everyone in the country is racist, and we all secretly agree that we're racist. But publicly, none of us will admit to it. And if anyone does admit to it, they're banished. Because that's how deep our racism runs. It makes no sense.
I have to wonder when this was agreed upon.
Yeah, exactly. I go to the meetings, and I don't remember this. I would let you know. I would tell you.
Okay, you know who could tell us? Dinesh D'Souza. I'm sure Dinesh D'Souza can tell us about how in like 1960 or 1968, all the Democrats, who are, of course, the real racists, sort of got in a room together and talked about their new plan to ensure that America would stay white supremacist while also agreeing simultaneously to once we walk out of this room, everybody here is a liberal. Like this is the last place in America where we can say the N-word. After that,
everybody, and then they all said it in unison. One last one for the road. And then they left. And they all scattered. It's like, if this is the way you have to prove, if this is the charge, and this has to be the charge, because they can't, we already debunked the outright charge. If this is it, that there's this big conspiracy that is so overarching it involves every white person in the country, except the white people who pointed out, I guess. Because if it involved everyone